In this video, I'm giving you 15 simple habits that will rebuild your body from the ground up. You will be healthier than you've been in years, more feminine than you've felt in a long time, and more in control of your weight than you ever thought possible after 40. These are simple tricks, simple actions, 15 of them linked together like a chain, where each one makes the next one easier. Stick with me. Apply even a handful of these, and within a few months, the people around you will start asking what you're doing differently. Hi, I'm Claudia. I've spent the last 2 decades as an independent health researcher, reading the studies that most people never see, challenging the advice that conventional medicine copies and pastes to every woman who walks in, and helping women over 40 take back control of their health without blindly trusting a system that profits from keeping them sick. Before we start, habit 1 is the foundation everything else builds on, and it comes from a Japanese philosophy called Kaizen. The idea is simple because you just aim to improve by 1% every day. Now, I know what you're thinking, 1%? I hear you. But for menopause weight loss, this is a biological strategy, not just a motivational poster on a gym wall. Small and consistent wins lower your cortisol levels while reducing the decision fatigue that makes you reach for the wrong snacks at 9 p.m. And let's be honest, we all know what happens at 9 p.m. You've had a long day, the couch is calling, and suddenly those cookies in the pantry start whispering your name. Over time, these tiny wins build the neural pathways that make healthy choices automatic, so you are not fighting yourself at every single meal. You are not trying to overhaul your entire life in a week. You are moving the needle slightly every day until the momentum does the heavy lifting for you. Habit 2 is one that most people ignore completely, and when I tell you what it is, you might roll your eyes. Ready? Tracking your hydration by your urine color. I know, not the most glamorous topic, but stay with me because this one is sneaky important. Light yellow is the target you want to hit because anything darker means you are already behind and your body is struggling. Dehydration slows your metabolism and spikes cortisol because your body reads a lack of water as a major stress signal. When cortisol goes up, fat storage goes up with it, especially around the abdomen, which is exactly where most of us are fighting the hardest battle during menopause. You are not overeating your way to a plateau. You are likely dehydrating your way there. Let that sink in for a second. Habit 3 is the fix for this, and it is embarrassingly simple. Make water impossible to ignore in your daily environment. Put a large bottle somewhere you will see it constantly, on your desk, the kitchen counter, or right next to your bed. When the water is in your line of sight, you will find yourself drinking without even thinking about it. And here's a little bonus most people don't realize. Most of the time when you think you are hungry in the middle of the morning, your body is actually just dry. It's not asking for food, it's asking for water. Try it tomorrow morning and see what happens. Habit 4. Now we're getting into the fun stuff. This one is about removing the conditions that create those intense cravings in the first place. And by fun, I mean we're about to break up with your pantry. Cortisol-driven cravings hit hardest in the evening when your stress hormones are winding down and your brain starts bargaining for a reward. You know that voice. Just one piece, you earned it. Sound familiar? If the food is not in the house, the friction of getting in your car and driving to the store kills the impulse most of the time. You are not white-knuckling your way through a craving. You are making the bad choice so inconvenient that it rarely happens. So here's the rule. Do not keep what you are trying to quit in your pantry. Don't fight cortisol with willpower. Just change the environment. Habit 5 follows directly from that, and I want you to really hear this one. Menopause weight loss is not decided at the dinner table. It is decided at the grocery store checkout. I'll say that again. Your diet is decided at the grocery store, not in your kitchen. The environment you build at home is the diet you actually follow, regardless of what you plan to do. Those chips you buy because they are for the kids? Be honest, we both know where those chips end up on a Wednesday night when cortisol is high and your defenses are down. The solution is not more discipline, It is simply a different shopping cart. Now pause for a second. These first 5 habits do not require a gym membership, a complex meal plan, or any particular amount of motivation. They require changing what is around you. Your kitchen, your hydration, and your shopping habits are the levers that control your weight before you ever take a single deliberate action. When the environment is right, you can stop relying on willpower to do a job it was never designed to do. And honestly, willpower was never designed for this job. It's like hiring a babysitter to run a hospital, not the right tool. Okay, now here is a reality that is going to feel completely backwards when you first hear it. Most women who hit a wall with menopause weight loss try to fix the problem by doing more cardio, more treadmill, more elliptical, more suffering, and that is often the exact thing making the situation worse. I know, it sounds crazy, but hear me out. Excessive cardio spikes your cortisol levels. When that stress hormone stays elevated day after day, your body responds by holding on to fat instead of releasing it. If you've been logging an hour on the elliptical every single morning while wondering why the scale refuses to move, this is the reason. You are not being lazy. You are not failing at your diet. You are simply triggering a hormonal response that is more powerful than the caloric deficit you're trying to create. And nobody told you this. That's the frustrating part. What actually works is strength training, and the clinical research is very clear about this. Lifting weights rebuilds your lean muscle mass, which is the specific tissue that was driving your metabolic rate before estrogen started to decline. More lean muscle means a higher resting metabolic rate, meaning your body burns fat around the clock, not just during the workout. Plus, it improves your insulin sensitivity, which directly dials down the fat storage signals that menopause amplifies. So yes, those little dumbbells can do more for you than an hour on the treadmill. Way more. Habit 6 is how you make this happen without adding another exhausting appointment to your calendar. And this one is my personal favorite because it's almost lazy. Take your dumbbells or your resistance bands and put them right next to your couch. Not in the spare room, not in a gym bag in the closet, right there next to where you sit every evening. While you are watching your show, do overhead presses during the episode, leg raises during the ads, and sofa squats while the credits roll. You know what happens? You're just moving while watching TV. 3 or 4 sessions a week accumulate it without you ever scheduling a single one. Habit 7 is what turns those couch sessions into actual visible results. You need a structured 8 to 12 week training plan. Random workouts might make you feel productive, but they rarely build the momentum your metabolism needs to change. When every session is part of a sequence where Tuesday feeds into Thursday and this week builds on last week, your body is forced to adapt. That progression is what raises your resting metabolic rate and finally starts reversing that stubborn visceral fat. And here's a hidden benefit. A preset plan means you never have to think about what to do next. That alone removes a cortisol trigger most women don't even realize they have. If you're finding this helpful, please tap that like button. It's a small thing for you, but it helps me reach more women who might be searching for exactly this information right now. I genuinely appreciate it. And if you want more support from women who are doing this same work, come check out our school community. We are all over the world, helping each other stay consistent. And for less than 4 coffees a month, you get access to weekly plans, recipes, and a group of women who actually understand what this phase of life feels like. The link is in the description. Now let's talk about mornings, because this is where most women lose the battle before the day even starts. Your cortisol follows a very specific daily rhythm that peaks within 30 to 45 minutes of waking up. During menopause, that peak runs much higher and stays elevated much longer than it used to. So every food decision you make in that morning window is being made under intense hormonal pressure. This is why the "I'll figure out breakfast later" approach almost always ends with you grabbing whatever is fastest. And what's fastest is almost never what's healthiest. This isn't a character flaw, it's chemistry. Habit 8 removes that decision entirely. Prep your breakfast the night before. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated, just a high-protein meal that's ready to go when you wake up. Having a pre-decided breakfast means the most metabolically vulnerable window of your day is handled before you even open your eyes. You wake up with high cortisol, but the decision has already been made for you. And that, my friend, is how you win the morning without fighting your own biology. Habit 9 is understanding why that first meal matters so much. A breakfast rich in protein stabilizes your blood sugar, which blunts the cortisol curve and reduces fat storage signals for the next 4 to 6 hours. Skip breakfast or eat something sugary, blood sugar spikes, crashes, cortisol climbs, and fat storage gets the green light. Women who lock in a structured first meal consistently report fewer afternoon cravings, more stable energy, and significantly less overeating in the evening. And that last part is key because the evening is when everything falls apart for most of us. Fix the morning, and the evening has a funny way of fixing itself. Habit 10. Okay, this one sounds almost too simple, but do not skip past it because it might be the most practical thing I say in this entire video. When a craving breaks through your defenses anyway, and it will sometimes, do this. Eat a cucumber and drink a full glass of water immediately. No negotiation, no should I or shouldn't I debate, just cucumber and water. Now, before you laugh, this is not a distraction trick. This is a physiological interrupt. The volume in your stomach bypasses leptin resistance, which is a condition where your brain keeps sending hunger signals even when you have plenty of fuel. It is incredibly common during menopause. Your brain genuinely thinks you are starving when you are not. But stomach volume is one of the few things that can cut through that noise and reset the signal within minutes. Cucumber works perfectly because its high water content, plenty of fiber, and the actual chewing triggers satiety signals in the brain. The bargaining loop breaks. The craving passes. You move on with your evening. Simple as that. Now let's talk about the room where your health is quietly decided more than anywhere else. Not the gym, your kitchen. Most kitchens are set up to make losing weight during menopause much harder than it needs to be. Processed food front and center, healthy stuff buried in the crisper drawer where nobody looks. When cortisol-driven hunger hits at the end of a long day, your brain does not browse. It grabs whatever's closest and requires zero effort. Sound familiar? Habit 11 starts before you even get home. Every time you go to the grocery store, pick up at least one vegetable before anything else goes in the cart. This isn't symbolic. What you put in first shapes every choice that follows. A cart that opens with fresh produce tends to close with less junk. You are using simple psychology to steer the whole trip before you even reach the danger aisles. And we all know which aisles those are. Habit 12 is what you do with those vegetables when you get home. And please, please don't just throw the raw broccoli in the crisper drawer and call it a day, because we both know what happens next. It sits there, it turns yellow, it goes in the trash, and you feel guilty. Instead, cook it. Cook a big batch at the start of the week. Put it in a clear container and place it at eye level in the front of the fridge, right where your eyes land every time you open that door. Visible, ready, no effort required. That's when vegetables actually get eaten. Habit 13 handles the other half of the evening problem. Once you're tired and that answer doesn't come fast, you know what fills the gap: takeout. And that takeout comes loaded with sodium and refined carbs that can set you back by days. The fix is so simple, it's almost annoying. Print a 10 list of high-protein meals you already know how to make and stick it on the fridge. Nothing fancy. Salmon with roasted veg, Greek chicken bowl, egg and veggie scramble. 10 options you can execute on autopilot. When hunger hits, the answer is already staring you in the face. No thinking required. And research shows that perimenopausal women need around 80 to 100 grams of protein daily to preserve lean muscle. This list makes hitting that number a natural side effect of dinner. The kitchen is where your health is decided at 6:15 on a Tuesday when you're exhausted. Engineer that room correctly, and the right choices start making themselves. Now, Everything, and I mean everything we just talked about, gets significantly harder when you aren't sleeping well. And I'm not talking about slightly harder, I mean structurally harder. Sleep is the biological mechanism that resets your cortisol overnight. Without that reset, you start the next day already elevated. Fat storage stays on, hunger hormones spike, insulin sensitivity drops. Poor sleep doesn't just make life harder. It actively reverses the progress your other habits are trying to build. During menopause, sleep disruption becomes the new normal for many of us. Night sweats, lighter sleep stages, waking up at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, wondering if you remembered to defrost the chicken. The average woman loses 1 to 2 hours of quality sleep per night during this transition, and that shortfall creates a loop. Poor sleep raises cortisol, which increases fat storage, which worsens hormonal balance, which disrupts sleep even further. You cannot eat your way out of that loop, and you cannot train your way out of it. Habit 14 is a physical change that won't cost you anything. Move your phone charger away from your bed, across the room, another room if possible. Screens before bed suppress melatonin and fragment the deep sleep stages where cortisol actually resets. Every night you spend scrolling in bed, you are borrowing against tomorrow's food choices. And here is the bonus. If you're someone who hits snooze 5 times every morning, now you have to physically get up to turn off the alarm. And once you're up, you're up. Getting just 1 extra hour of quality sleep can measurably reduce cortisol the next day and pull your hunger hormones back toward normal. One change, where you plug in your phone, and it touches everything else on this list. Habit 15 is the only one that requires a decision from you right now. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, right now. Pick one habit from this list, just one, and commit to it for 7 days. Don't try 5, don't try all 15, 1. Because the gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it is where most women get stuck. And the only thing that closes that gap is action. Weight loss during menopause was never about eating less and munting more, despite what everyone keeps telling us. It was always about the environment, the hormones, and a fat storage system that nobody framed correctly for you. Every habit we covered today removes a specific piece of friction that was quietly keeping that system switched on. You don't need more willpower, you need a better designed life, and now you have the blueprint. Tell me in the comments which habit you're starting with. I want to know.